Hey guys, and welcome back to another installment of this 10, it was 11 day, but now it's going to be a 10-day series. I believe this is the 9th day of the 10-day series on the healing from the division caused by COVIDiocy. And we've been talking about a lot of different things. 2 days ago, we talked about how to start to create certain relationships that will last and how to start to attract your tribe and your right people. And I want to talk about tribe especially today because I think we are focused a lot now in trying to create more community in our lives, to create more, we're trying to rebuild and come up with a new idea about community. And I talk a lot about why I like living in Utah and the like-mindedness of the people in Utah and how that has played out for not just us, but for Utah in general. As there was a recent study where Utah was ranked #1 among the states for COVID outcomes of health and education of COVID policies affecting health, education, and business. And Utah came out ranked #1. And Utah had the least amount of policies is what ended up, I think, being the biggest factor. But then you have to ask, why did Utah have the least? Is it just because it's so conservative politically? And in fact, the politicians in Utah are some of the most liberal conservatives. We have Mitt Romney, we have this Governor Cox, who's on camera with school children talking about his pronouns and all of this crazy stuff that's going on in the world right now. And so it is not that like Utahns will continue to elect the like Orrin Hatch and all of these, what a lot refer to as rhinos. They're very progressive type of Republican candidates. They're considered Republican, I think, just to get elected, but they're really about as far left as you could get. They're almost as left as any California politicians, but their hands are tied because Utahns have a historical distrust in government. And so living in a place, so I hate to say it's time to move, but if you're living in a region where the majority of the people around you do not reflect your values, you are going to struggle to continue to thrive in your community, make friends, find the right kind of people around you, live the life you want to live in freedom while people around you are, living a whole different life. Like, it's almost like when in Rome, you must do as the Romans do, And if you're in Rome and you're not a Roman and the Roman way of life is just not, you see that it's not healthy and it's not beneficial and it's leading to food shortages, you might have to move somewhere else out of the region where you have inhabited. And I am personally involved in a lot of like libertarian communities and such, and it's very common among libertarian people to or voluntarist people to promote this idea of stand your ground, don't move, and but no, that's not realistic. What happened in Waco and what happened in Ruby Ridge can happen to you if you are not surrounded with like-minded people that understand your values. And if you move into a region where the entire region understands your values, it's going to be a lot harder for the federal government to get away with doing crazy shit to you and to take over your life and stuff. And so I'm not proposing that everyone just jump up and try to find Libertopia. I don't know if that exists, but there are regions that have more liberty-minded people, and I have noticed that in Utah. But I do want to talk about like a little bit about how things are, because Utahns typically have traditional family values, but traditional family values can go both ways. Like, I don't have any, I can't sit here and say, oh my gosh, traditional family values are the greatest when I have pretty much extricated almost all of my family that I was born to from my life. And I just don't believe personally that going to a site like 23andMe and spitting in a glass and finding out who I'm related to is what determines my allegiances. And I mean, maybe that's white privilege or something, but I don't have to have anything to do with those people. And I don't think you should either. I mean, if they're not promoting a healthy and self-preserving way of life, no, you're going to have to walk away and find your tribe, find your like-minded people, find people that share your values. It's good to know what your core values are. And that I do an exercise. It's in my Say Yes to Boundaries course script, which is online. Excuse me. Some like spit got stuck in the back of my throat. I'm like, hold on. Let me jump on because I cannot see any comments or anything that's happening, and to know that this is even, it says I'm live, it says I'm here, and I'm not seeing my people. It's 5 o'clock. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. Okay. I see what I did. I'm going to share this. Let me tag myself, my other, my betters. Let's see if I can do any tags in here. Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Okay. Let me share. Let's try it that way. All right. So, sorry about that. Yeah, so I want to be able to see y'all. And let me go to the the OP and see if I am getting comments on this post, as it is not showing up on here. All right. So y'all. All right. Very good. What was I talking about? Arbitrary values. And so with my family, I've obviously, I don't think that spitting in a glass and finding out that we're related is what it predicates whether or not that we are akin to one another or kindred spirits. So I have created a core values exercise that you can do in my Say Yes to Boundaries course, and it'll say something SYTB. If you go through my Substack, you'll find it. Let me add that right here. So sign up there. So subscribe to my Substack. The link is below now, and you will be able to have the access to that course, the script, but I will actually be doing a core values live exercise in my course that is coming up, and you'll be able to go through the little Say Yes to Values training that is going to be coming up soon. We're going to do a whole workshop, and we're going to do some fun things. And that's one of the exercises, is the core values exercise. But if you know some of your core values and you figure that out, finding people with core values is going to be one of your #1 ways of finding people that you really resonate with, that are your kin, your kindred spirits, your kinship, that are akin to you personally. And I, bring this up because Utah is just a funny place where they do put family values first and all of these things, but they make a lot of arbitrary rulings based on their religion. So initially, their religion did not like outsiders. It didn't like people of different values and different faiths and different lifestyles. And it was very prejudice to people of different skin color for a long time, and it was horrible. And it was a very arbitrary decision that, you know, the church had, where, and people that were different sexual preferences, etc. This was big time stuff where the shunning happened. And I've experienced a little bit of shunning myself since I've lived in Utah, so I know what it's all about. It certainly sucks. But I think what happened was, now the church wants to arbitrarily accept certain people based on like certain political views or certain whatever. And in some cases, I feel like it's detrimental. It runs contrary to the family values that they supposedly, you know, purport to support or whatever. And so now it's like the church arbitrarily is trying to make up for the sins of the past. And so it's kind of bowing to a lot of things. So when COVID hit, they went along with all the masking policies and basically said, you know, Jesus would wear a mask to protect other people, which is ridiculous. Like, okay, so Jesus is going to wear a mask to prevent his holy body from getting a virus and spreading it to other, like do what Jesus would. And they had the people in the church had signs in their yard about it. And it was absolutely absurd that Jesus would want you to wear a mask and all of this to protect your neighbors. And it was unscientific, and it was just this arbitrary platform that the church has tried to get on board with a lot of progressive policies arbitrarily without really considering how it affected their true beliefs or their values. Once again, they're going against their own values. So they've like swung the pendulum from like a certain type of racism and way of doing things to another type of like ostracism of people, in all ways arbitrary. You know, like they're just trying to make up for what they did in the past, and they're not really thinking it through. They're not like thinking objectively of individuals, individual health, individual needs. They didn't think about any of that. They just went along with like, this is what we're doing now, you know, this as a community, as a collective. And that's the problem with collectives, is they're always kind of arbitrary. And when you start making rules based on what's best for a whole group, individuals do get lost in the wash. And it's unfortunate. It is very unfortunate, because I've been one of those individuals where the family that I had didn't really suit me, and so I don't have that family anymore. Certain cultures are also prone to this. I was listening to a speaker talk on Confucianism, I think is how you would pronounce it. That it was based on this idea of circles, of like, who is in your inner circle is your family. And so there's this huge respect for family. And then another circle is your like government, or your, you know, and so that's one of the circles of Confucianism that are like held up and venerated, is government and family. And it's very arbitrary. And so recently in China, like in the last maybe 10 years, they tried to pass a law where children were responsible for their parents, even if they'd had no relationship with them and had nothing to do with them at all. Maybe their parent abandoned them when they were a child. Maybe they beat them. Maybe they just like were a deadbeat, alcoholic, whatever, and they have nothing to do with their kids anymore. And they wanted the kids to start, for those adults to financially, and their debts and everything, they were coming after the younger generation to take care of the older generation, in all these ways. And they, you know, they saw it as like this idea that it was going to perpetuate like unity and respect and harmony. And a lot of people, thankfully, have modernized in China and pushed back against it and said, no effing way, you know. But it was a thing that they tried to bring back. And I think family as a unifier is a really good thing. I think it's far better than the government. Like with a small family, when your kids are younger and whatnot, I don't like the idea of government intruding and dividing that up or doing anything with that. However, I mean, I don't like the government in general, but however, with older people, we come to find out that those are not necessarily the best ways upon which to make allegiances for the rest of your life, or to bridge some kind of union or tribe. You may not be able to build tribe with your own family. You may not be able to build tribe with your neighborhood. So I wanted to talk today about some ways that you can start to build tribe, especially if you are freedom-minded. One of those ways would be, I would say, going to events. So like in my case, my values are very compatible with most people that are in the, what is it called? The Rebuild, the John Bush thing. So the Freedom Cell Network, getting on there, even if there's no freedom cells in your area, there's never going to be, if everybody in your area goes there and checks and goes, oh, bummer, there's no one here. So put your house address at the nearest town's coffee shop or McDonald's or gas station if you're out in Podunk nowhere, mini mart or whatever public location. Put your address as that and say that you're interested in starting up a freedom cell, so that other people in your region can find out that, yes, indeed, there is you out there. So they can find you and you can get together and stuff. There's other different types of events, conferences and conventions. Like I was saying, there's like that, there's Derek Bros is doing the Greater Reset activation. So coming to one of those events, you'll meet more people that are probably already getting together in your area through freedom cells and whatnot. If you go to different liberty events, even if you have to travel, it might give you an idea where you'd want to move to, and you could reestablish. I mean, a big part of moving and the issue with moving is establishing relationships in those places and feeling at home. And so I feel like if you can get out to an event, to a place where you might be thinking of moving, that might be a good idea. There are Jackalope Freedom Festivals coming up. Float Fest just ended, but they have them every year. There's Anarchapulco, and there's different ones in Philadelphia. There's Pork Fest. There's so many different liberty-minded. So if like freedom's your jam, that might be. But if it's not your jam, whatever your jam is, you can find your people through different types of conventions and events. So it's time to start looking around. If you're a homeschooler, for example, like I am, you can find other homeschoolers in your region. Hi, Crystal. Hi, Eugene. Looking at other homeschoolers in your region. You go on Facebook and you put in the search bar where you live, city, state, and county, and local cities that are within driving distance of you that you're willing to drive toward. And you got the book today? Oh, yay. Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, so you're driving toward the place that you're close to, and put homeschool, homeschooler, homeschoolers, homeschool 2 words, unschool, wild school. There's like, just start playing with search parameters to find groups in your area of like-minded people. And it's a really fun little exercise, but you might find that there's more resources around you to find more like-minded people. It could be, you know, I'm in Salt Lake, so I could put Salt Lake Permaculture, Salt Lake Homesteaders, Salt Lake Voluntarius. Bountiful Voluntarius is a group I'm in. But I think we're switching to Davis County, so we have a little more reach. But there's also a Salt Lake Freedom Cell, and there's a Bountiful Freedom Cell. That's what we are too. And so you can start to find your people. It's really important to look for those like-minded, similar value people, so that you're not trying to join a new church, you join a new church and you kind of have the same religion, but you get there and everyone's wearing a mask and, totally different values from you. Even if you have, even if it's like a new age church, sometimes those are the worst. I mean, that's part of, the issue there is you get there and it's like not a single person that shares your values. We all believe in spiritual healing until it came to COVID, and fuck that, And same with Christianity. There's just so much of that happening, where the religious people, the spiritual people, the people that believed in the power and grace of the divine suddenly thought that it could cure everything, even cancer, until COVID came along. And then, fuck it, we all need to wear masks and run for our lives and crap our pants or whatever they were doing. That goes against their whole religious principles and teachings. Threw it all in the garbage for politics. Political agendas run by a medical martial law kind of situation. We all lived through it, right? So we all know. But yes, it is time to consider reaching out. And part of that outreach is finding out what your values are. And we will be doing the core values exercise in the training that's coming up. That's going to be a workshop, and it's going to be super fun. The Say Yes to Boundaries workshop. And we're going to talk about how to align with our values and find those principles and use them in our lives. And again, all of that scripting for the workshop and stuff and for this exercise is in my Substack. So subscribe to the Substack right now so you can have access to all of that and anything new that I come up with that you think, oh my gosh, that is a nice little hack. And because I'm always like looking for easier ways to do things. And as soon as I find them, I'm sharing them in my Substack. So join. And with the workshop will come with a discount for people that are paying subscribers. You can subscribe for free and get everything, but paying subscribers will get discounts to my workshops and whatnot. So when we do live interactive type things that are going to be really fun and everything, you're going to get a much better deal if you're a paid subscriber, and it's as low as $9 a month. So that's awesome. And there's annual memberships. There's all kinds of stuff in there. So you can figure out what level of contribution you want to make based on how much you get from all of this. Long story short, yes, I want to give you some more ideas about ways of finding your people. So again, you can go into social media. I mean, this is one of those things that like social media for a lot of people is like scary. It's like, oh my gosh, social media, I'm addicted to it. And I find out the news and I'm terrified and I'm and it's all bad. And I don't have that experience when I go on social media. So again, this is like where you create harmonious relationships in your life and you're creating boundaries. My social media page is funny as shit. Like it's humor. It is, not commiseration. It's more like a collective like laugh fest at everything going on in the world that's crazy, but it's also coming together, and there's a lot of love and heartfelt understanding for one another, caring for each other's issues. Like I had that issue with my chickens yesterday, and oh my gosh, so many people showed up with like support and suggestions and how to help my chickens and how to help my kids and how to deal with the dude. I mean, it was awesome. Like the community of support and outreach that I have created with my Facebook, which is totally unique and different than a lot of people's experience of social media, which is stressful, addictive, hurtful, painful. And then we meet people from social media. So some of my closest friends I met online and now I know in person, and we talk on the phone all the time and we have love fest. And so social media, like, try to take it to the next level. If you find someone that you're really resonating with, that you really feel like, oh my gosh, this person is just singing the song of my soul. Try to call that person, reach out to them. Yes, you and me need to talk, lady. I know. So, reach out to them, take that friendship to the next level and see. We had, I want to say Arthur Marquez drive through, and my husband saw it and he's like, do you know this guy from one of my Facebook friends, Arthur? Do you know him? I'm like, yeah, I think he bought some tooth powder from me. So he was driving through and stopped, and my husband took the kids over. I was doing my video, so I didn't get to meet him, but they got to meet in person. We always try to meet in person when anyone of our Facebook friends that are in the and fam, you know, community of these like-minded, liberty-loving, individualist, you know, people that believe in like the off-grid lifestyle. When they come through town, we meet them, we hang. We don't just like, oh, it's keep our online relationships online. And I think that can be really isolating, is finding out, you know, I was watching a video with Pete Quinones and James Corbett, and they were talking about how social media is not real. And I'm like, I make it fucking real. And you can make it real, but you have to make the effort. You have to get out of your little discomfort zone, as I call it. And you have to say, okay, you know what? I feel isolated and alone. What am I going to do about it? I'm going to call Karen, you know? I'm here. Guess what? I would love to talk to you. But it's not just me. There's so many great people. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh. I was talking to Raylene today, and she was talking to just sharing this story, like texting with me this story. And I was like, oh man, I got to hook Raylene up with Deanna, because like they would totally click, you know? And so I know all these people in this community that we don't have to leave it as just an online friendship that we think is fake, you know, that it's not real, as James Corbett described it. I think James, I love you. You're like one of my heroes. Peter Quinones, you're one of my best friends and my heroes. But I have to say, you guys got it all fucking wrong. You're doing it wrong, dude. And Pete should know better, because our friendship started online, but we do still keep it. It's like we went from Facebook to Telegram. We still need to talk more, you know, but like I talked to Raylene for an hour the other day. I mean, we've never met in person, but when we come together, it's going to be, I don't know, margaritas and good times. Lots of cheese probably, which is going to hurt my digestive system, but it will be a special occasion of cheese. But yes, make this real. Make it real. If it's not real, make it real. You can make it real. You don't have to have the family you were born to and slog through their bullshit about who they're going to vote for next election, conversation, and have that be your Thanksgivings for the rest of your life. You don't have to do that. No, you don't. You don't have to. You can if you want to, but you don't have to. And I'm just telling you this because the world is shifting quickly. And there were a lot of people, I would say, in certain times in history that decided to make their values staying close to their arbitrary family that went along with a lot of bullshit, you know, Nazi Germany, et cetera, you know, in different parts of China, and things with Cambodia with Pol Pot and all this stuff. And people that saw it starting to come and went, I'm getting the fuck out of here. Their families might not have come. Their families might have been like, I'm just going to stay here, blah, blah, blah. Oh, yay. I'm so glad you met some people. That's awesome. What part of California are you in? So maybe I know some people that I can hook you up with. I know in Santa Cruz, they have a huge community that David Rodriguez puts together, and they go to beaches and they have sing-alongs and they have like massive, awesome, good vibes. And people, somebody from here moved there just to be part of that community from Utah. I'm like, why would you do that? You know? But she wanted to be part of that, like Santa Cruz, what was going on there was pretty cool. Liberty-wise. Anyway, what was I saying? I cannot remember. I lost my train of thought. Oh, Fresno. Okay. All right, Fresno. I have to look into that because you're like right in, we always say a match made in Fresno. But my surrogate mom and dad are both, she went to Fresno State, Bulldog. So you can meet some good people there. I suppose there are still some around. Not a lot. Yeah, it's kind of like a really strange spot. Bakersfield, Fresno, all that. Interesting. Very interesting. Do they still have a pea soup Anderson's there? I used to love that place. That was like my favorite place in the whole world, was that pea soup Anderson's in Button Willow near Bakersfield. Anyway. Yeah, I grew up there. The armpit, yes. Oh, you're so funny. But yeah, considering moving and where to move to, I think that's what I was talking about, and getting out to new places and finding your people. There's people in these different regions that you can meet and get to know. You can make your Facebook friends real friends and start to find more of them through the Freedom Cell Network. I think that's a good way to start. And just starting to kind of like stretch a little. And even if they live far away, like Raylene lives far away, and Christy is in Maryland, and Deanna's in Virginia, and I have friends all over the country, but I get on the phone and I talk to these people. I don't leave it at Facebook, because it can be not real if you leave it not real. And if you want to make it real, you got to like start calling people and having FaceTimes. Oh, Tara, fuck. Tara in Boston. I have like friends all over the place. So yeah, we're spread out. And Tara came here. And I was like, you gotta make a road trip, girl. She wanted to make a road trip. It was her vision. And I was like, then get over here, like now. And she did. And we had a blast. We, in the middle of the whole COVID craziness, we went to the hot springs, nobody in face masks, tons of people in a hot spring pool. And it was just glorious. And I think it was just like one of the best times of my life, and probably Tara's too. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't speak for myself, but it was such a nice time to bond and get to know each other. And then Jack Fest, Tina Marie's out there, and my friend Cassandra is out there now. She moved from Utah to Arizona. And so I had, Snowflake has a very, farming community type people with like minds. There's a bunch of people in Idaho. So there's a lot of places to consider moving if you are thinking of moving, or just consider going, so that you can actually make in-person connections with people, so it doesn't feel like you're being catfished or something. I know that's horrible, but you gotta take it to the next level, and it can be unreal. There can be people, like I've been catfished before. In my book, if you have my book, you'll read about it. I call it my story being fatfished. Jordan Jeffrey, thanks for joining. But yeah, that's in the dating chapter, and it's a pretty funny story, but yeah, you do have to, you can't just be on the phone. You maybe need a FaceTime. Now we have so much technology, so you really actually get to be with people. And I mean, I bring my girlfriends, I'll just bring my phone on FaceTime to my kitchen, and I'll be cooking and talking and the whole shebang at the same time, so that we connect. But I just wanted to make sure that everybody keeps everything from being arbitrary. In New Hampshire, there is the, what's it called, movement. The New Hampshire has the Free State movement. So there are a lot of people in New Hampshire area. Yes. So there's a lot of different regions where there's like, in Utah, we have 2 large freedom cells that meet here, and people come from all over the state just to be part of that. And I know Idaho has a ton of different liberty groups that meet up, and some are more, Constitution based. And we have that here in Utah, and they are very much on the same page with us. So we definitely can all get together and kind of be more like-minded and stuff. But the communities where you live make a big difference. So it might be time to start opening your mind to the idea of the move, even if you haven't figured out how you're going to make it work. The how is not up to you. Just know your why. Start thinking of where you want to be and what you want out of a move, what you would like in your ideal, and open your mind and let the how start to kind of evolve for you if a move. And I have a whole chapter on moving in this book too. So if that's I assume that's the book you were referring to, because I read a chapter from it the other day. But The Secret of Moving On is all about manifesting a move. And so that is another great place to look. And one of the main things that can hold you back from moving to a new location, what do you want to guess it is? Forgiveness. Yeah, if you work on forgiveness, that's like baggage that you're not going to carry with you. Unforgiveness is a big thing to work on if you want to manifest a move. Start forgiving everyone in your life. And it will free you up, and surprisingly has this shocking correlation that I have found to moving. The secret of moving on is traveling light. So you're not bringing your baggage with you. That's a great song too. That's by that chick from Heart, Wilson, and the guy from Ambrosia, David Gates, I think his name is. They got together and, no, David Gates is Brad. My bad. It's the guy from Ambrosia, though, I'm pretty sure. I can't think of his name. And they got together and they did this song called The Secret of Moving On is Traveling Light. And it's about just releasing unforgiveness, but it also is just like the shit you don't want to bring with you to your next house. So even if it's moving to a new house, it might be just manifesting a new house or whatever. It doesn't have to be like across the street or out of your region or even whatever. But if you're talking about packing up and moving, you want to declutter beforehand, but you also want to start working on forgiveness. It's a big way to like manifest a move, big part of manifesting a move in my experience. Shockingly enough. Anyway, I am all out of tips and advice. I just want you guys to make it real with your internet connections and start using the tools that we have in our modern society of all of this innovation and technology that is working against us, and use it for yourself so that it's fun, so that you get on Facebook and it's fun, and that you're not having like arbitrary relationships with libertarians that you don't even like, just freaking block them or unfriend them. Just stay friends with the good people, and your experience of social media can be wonderful, and it can be helping you get more free and to create more of the things that it's trying to get you to not do. You can use it. You can use this tool in a really effective way that's super positive and helps create good relationships. So I love you guys. Thank you once again for being here with me for this number 9 installment. And again, that upcoming workshop is going to be awesome. The Say Yes to Boundaries workshop that I'm building. And I will let you all know through my Substack. So subscribe to my Substack so you get the newsletter delivered directly to your inbox when that workshop is available. And if you are a paid subscriber, you will get a significant discount on that workshop. And so I'm really excited to have you guys join me for that, because it's going to be a super experiential and fun time. I love you all. Thank you so much. Thank you, Crystal. We got to connect in the real. We got to make it real. Thank you once again for being a part of this and supporting me in this whole transition to teaching boundaries rather than just writing about them and talking about them in my head, writing about them in my blog and bringing it to live videos, which after this 10 days, I will probably continue to do this about once a week. Might go back to a Freedom Friday thing and might interview some other people that I lean on for support sometimes, and I can think of a few. And just to share them and their wealth of resources and stuff with you all. And I look forward to seeing you all again tomorrow at 5. So have a lovely night. And Justin, you're going to have to watch the replay. It will be in my blog. So subscribe to my Substack, Justin, and you will see it there tomorrow, or you can watch it live replay here as well. All right. Thank you all again, and have a lovely night.